Was life very hard? For sure. I tried, I gave it all my best, but I couldn't get in. Life is very unfair. Hello, once again, welcome to the Context Blueprint. And today we are really talking about a very critical point: how to deal with the UWC rejection. And once again, I was rejected. You know, ton of times I've been rejected from very many things, but this is gonna be one of the videos where I'm gonna have to cry, if not two or three more times in this very video, because this is really much more. It is a very tough process to get through. So the UWC, which is the United World Colleges application, where you have to apply and get to the top UWC schools in the world, whether you're going to apply for a scholarship or your parents are really able to afford that very tuition. And you've really given it all your best, but today we are talking about how to deal with rejection. How do you get through that very tough sting that has already stuck into your body, and you really feel like you really have no future, or you have no way through, or some kind of way how to get out of it. This is what we're really going to talk about, and I'm really going to share my story with you before we dive into how to deal with the rejection. At the very time I really decided to apply to third UWC in my country, and obviously I really did whatever I thought was really very kind of important for me to really do, write the essay, so to as many people as I really did, but things didn't really work in my favor. I still didn't get in, and I sucked, right? I failed, and there was no way how I could really progress and attend the school of my dreams, and that really sucks, and that is how it is sucking right now. But I want to tell you, there is a better way how you can get through this to make sure that you become a better person and land a much more better opportunity, or an equal opportunity, just like I really did. So after that very experience, it was really very, very tough, where I even had to go for therapy because I was a weird kid and I couldn't really manage the stress myself. But I don't want you go through the same experience that I really did go through, and this is why I am talking about this very issue. Number one, you want to cry it out. Crying it out is really very important. Research already does really prove that every time you really cry out the pain, it does really help to relieve your body and also relieve your brain and your heart of that very pain that you really experience. So cry it out. Don't really be shy about it. Cry it out. If you really feel this was really one of the most important steps to really help you get a better education, just cry it out. Cry, talk to your parents, or beloved ones, or sister, or friend, mentor. Just cry it out, and just cry out the pain. This is really gonna be very important, once again, to relieve you of that very burden you're really carrying, because you have put in a lot of work, but at the end you've just been rejected. And once again, it's not because you don't deserve it, it's not because you're not really good enough, just because of very few things sometimes that might be in our control or may not be in our control, that really made us not land that very opportunity. So cry out the pain. So as you're really crying out the pain, you really feel so hard and you're really crying out the pain. Tip number two, you want to shut down the catalyst of the pain. By catalyst of the pain, I mean, if you are a person that follows so many people on Instagram that have gone to UWC, and you have your friends, and this was your right spot where you really had to make sure you really get into that very UWC school, and you don't get in, shut down your Instagram for some time. Just don't go on Instagram for a week or two, or even a month. TikTok, just restrain yourself from that. First, take in the pain, cry it out, and shut down the catalyst of the pain. And that helps you to regain this very kind of self awareness of who you are and what actually really happened or transpired in your life. So we have shut down our catalyst, and this is really also very crucial in our lives as we are really applying or trying to get to the next levels or next stages of our lives, there are two types of things. There are things that are in our control and things that are outside our control, things that we can control and things that we can't control. And obviously, Buddha does really talk about this in a much more expanded kind of way, where he talks about uh, the way how human beings usually want to have control over everything, but obviously, we just really have control over the tiniest and very little things in our lives. And some of the things are not in our control, and we don't have to beat ourselves just because some things didn't really work in our favor. So, tip number three that I just really want you get to practice if you're really going through UWC rejection, it's being able to acknowledge the fact that you have been rejected. The fact that you have been rejected. But reframe rejection as a sense of redirection. And this is also really going to be very important. It does do really differ. You may find you still really have another chance to apply to UWC depending on your age. If you're really 7, 6, 15 maybe, and you applied, or 16 and you didn't get in, you have like another year to apply. Still, once again, reframe the rejection as redirection and as a sense to learn or some kind of situation to learn from. So by acknowledging it, is being like, you know what? CornDawg, you didn't really get into UWC. Acknowledge the fact that I didn't really get into UWC and stop overthinking about it. Just take it in and believe that I didn't get it. And this is a very critical step in healing yourself of that very strong pain. And after acknowledging it, I know sometimes you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't really believe it. My friend got in. I didn't really get in. Just acknowledge the fact that you didn't get in. Full stop. Just acknowledge it. Feel it. Be like, I didn't get in. Okay, I didn't get in. Believe it. Believe that you didn't get in. And that's okay. But don't think your life is done. And this is where we are coming to the fourth step. Understand why you didn't get in. After the crying and now you're healing, you're in a much more kind of better process where your mind and body are actually in equilibrium, where you can actually process your thoughts in a much more better way. So know why you didn't really get in. What I really did, I remember I reached out to the committee, and depending on your committee, some committees will not really be sort of open to telling you why you didn't really get in, because some of the reasons may not be, sort of put out there, or they may not have, for fairness or a better way to actually sort of put it out there. But just try reach out, try get to know why you didn't really get in. Were they the essays? Did you try write some wrong essay? Did you convey yourself in a way that sort of confused the reader? And once again, this is very competitive. Not everyone can get into UWC. Not everyone is meant to get into UWC. You could be very good, you do everything that we've talked about really super well, but you don't get in, and that doesn't mean your life is done. It just means maybe UWC is not the right path for you. Maybe there is a better path more aligned to the person you are. So once again, know why you didn't really get in a very good way. Maybe you can reach out to your friend that got in. Once again, you do this only and only when you feel at peace with yourself and you are ready to move on, either in the UWC path or you're trying to look for another opportunity, as we are really going to narrow it down. So if you reach out to that friend, be like, oh, you got in, congratulations, my brother. Even though you feel so bad that you didn't really get in, you don't want to exude that, so talk to them. You could ask them for their essays and they could share with you their essays. You read through and try. Obviously, really going to be very different stories, but you could try see what kind of areas did they really try to talk about, or how did they speak about themselves, how well convincing were they to their admissions officer compared to you. And sometimes you could also talk to the alum of UWC that have really gotten in, or people that haven't gotten into that very UWC, and get to know what do they really have to say towards the application. And try once again, you're just trying to understand why. this is not like digging up the grave. I know some people are really gonna be like, just drop it and move on with life, but you wanna use it as a learning point, and this is what I did, and it really helped out. So when you do really get to understand why you didn't get in, I remember they gave me 3 pieces of advice, and if you wanna get to know those 3 pieces of advice, if you have that one chance that is left, and those 3 pieces of advice, I can guarantee you they are really gonna land you that very spot into that very WC school. Just comment advice right in this very video, and I will really reach out to you and send you that very blueprint of those very tips you really need to get to know. And once again, let's continue with getting to understand why you didn't really get in. It does really help you to know how you should have done better, and maybe perhaps something you didn't really do that very well. It could be there because these are very trained people, putting all factors aside of maybe bias or political situations. I don't think UWC does to really get affected with that a lot. And maybe perhaps there could be some instances where things sort of are there, but not to a larger extent. These are very genuine people, obviously. And sometimes you find it's just balancing. You find there was some kid and their story was much more emotional compared to your story, but both your stories were okay, but they only need to pick maybe like 40 people out of like 1,000. So you see, the stakes are really very, very high. So sometimes you find you are really very good, but compared to other people, because there is a lot of comparison when that really comes to WC, since there are very few spots. So it's very, very competitive. So sometimes you find some things that are not really in your favor, but just try get to know what perhaps how you could have done better. The other step you want to take is researching about other opportunities, and this comes to someone that is really looking into applying for another different opportunity to really get a better education. If you are still eligible to UWC and you really feel like you really want to reapply, in most cases it's not really going to happen due to age differences, like age limits. But if you're really still eligible, you can really look into that very UWC if you're still interested. But if you're not, then you look for other related opportunities. So you've already gotten to know this advice, and you're like, I need this for opportunity that can really help me get me to where I want to be. And once again, there are different paths to lead us to our destiny. I could fly to, Cairo right now. Someone could use a bus, depending on where they are or they're located. Someone could just walk because they're like 5 or 3 minutes away. So we have different paths, but we are all, gonna reach our destiny. So you want to get to know and get to understand where are you headed next. And once again, if you're a spiritual person, you have this very spiritual part of you could pray about it. This is also really very important. Ask God to really map out your destiny, and ask him to really guide you on what you really need to do to get to that very spot that you do really want to get in. Last step, sixth last step, it's practicing that very advice you really get in, those different pieces of advice you really get in from the committee itself, or from the people around you, from the people that did really get in, so that you can really incorporate it in your life. If it was about writing, try write as many essays as you can, even before the application time is really going to come. Because once again, this is just a way of trying to make yourself a better person, as you are really trying to make sure you do really get into that very specific spot. And obviously, our experiences are really going to be very different. Some of us are not really going to get in for things we can't control. Some of us are going to get in for things we can control, and we can change that. And personally, I got into a much more, I would say much more better place than I really thought I would do really get in. And there are some things I really agree. I screwed up a little bit in my essays. I became just a little bit too conservative and didn't just air out who I were in a much more better way. And if you're perhaps like me or just did the same thing that I did, you just want to make it a different thing the next time, because if you really keep it the past, then you're really gonna keep doing the same mistake. That's where the step of trying to get to know what went wrong is really very, very important. And if you're really going through this very time, I'm just right there with you. I understand what it truly means, just cry about it and just, just let the pain, just let it out, let the pain out, and just allow yourself to move on and become a better person that you just really want to become. And once again, if you found this video very important or very helpful to you, you can share it with your friend that didn't really get into UWC, or a friend that would really like to become better, or if you really think it's really going to help them. And if you found it helpful personally, you can really like and subscribe to the CornDawg Blueprint, and I can't wait for you to check out more other videos. Thanks for watching. Keep positive, the CornDawg Blueprint.